we're back. Howdy y'all, this is Ethan Bonreal back at it again, giving you that gay shit you love while playing some more Earthbound. So last time we were here, we made our way into the swamp known as Deep Darkness, taught this monkey by the tree how to tap into its psychic potential, and I also talked about my experiences with the stereotype of gays being extremely dramatic, and why that's not necessarily true, but there is some truth to it, and I gave my thoughts and experiences on that. This time around, we're on a hunt for some plot advancement, because we have no idea why the fuck we're in this swamp. The game tells you to go here, but they don't tell you why. And, of course, some more gay story time, so get into it, thumbs up. But, we need to drop by here, because the swamp ain't got any sort of money machine in it, so we need to go to the ATM here to slurp out our money. There we go, we are gonna just take this money right out here. We're going to take about half of our funds out. Slurp. There we go. And also we're going to take a rest in the hotel, but y'all are probably wondering what's going on with me. And as I've said before, it's winter, the homosexuals are out in their scarves and sweaters, just raging up and down the block. And I have to deal with it because I work retail. And I will say I'm being a little bit dramatic because I haven't seen that many gays at my job lately, but they're out there and they're always waiting to catch me slipping, so I gotta be careful. But for a refresher for y'all, I work retail, and most of the people I work with are old retirees, angry suburban women, moody teenagers, and then the final group is, of course, upwardly mobile homosexuals who are either techies or work in some sort of office job. But anyway, the reason why that matters is it gives you a bit of a picture of the kind of life I'm living, basically. And, we all think we're queens, but in reality, we all work for someone else and we're just a duchess. But anyway, now that we're talking to this dude, he is going to give us the opportunity to buy some upgrades, which we are going to gladly do. So we have a lot to buy in this part, so we're going to have to really try to speed through this dialogue so that we can get this video moving. But how are y'all doing? I'm doing just fine, like I said. I have not been working as much, even though it's the holiday season, just because, if you don't remember, I had been sick, and so I had to give away a lot of my shifts, and I wasn't sure when I was going to get better, so I kind of gave away too many, in my opinion. But, I just have to deal with it now. And I'll be making more money soon enough, where I'm going to start having more hours, pretty soon here. But I guess y'all probably want to hear about some stories, right? So I have this story that I've told a lot of people who know me, but I don't know if they remember it, because spoilers, people that know me, or a few of my regular viewers are people I actually went to college with, so they can call me out if I'm being full of shit, basically, and if I'm lying. But basically, I met up with this dude when I was probably, what the hell, maybe, I think I was 19, because it had to have happened during my sophomore year, because my junior year I was like, I actually hate everything, I hate men, and sex is filthy, and I refuse to have it. And what happened was, we met over, I don't remember what I used, I think it was Adam for Adam, and he just, was really quiet and really mousy, and he had agreed to meet up with me, and, he had parked, and I was walking him to my room, and he just would not say anything. He just was really mousy. He was really cute, and I was like, okay, I guess he's just nervous or whatever. And so we got to my room, and I was like, okay, how do you want to do this? And he just refused to say anything, and I was like, okay, well, I said, I'm gonna kiss you now. Is that cool? And then I tried to do it, and he was just like, and just making distress noises. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to put your butt in my face now. Is that cool? Maybe instead? Because from experience, I know that a lot of guys are not really into kissing, and it's not too uncommon to encounter guys who are not openly gay or not comfortable with their sexuality, who just really love having sex with men, but kissing, that's too gay, so they just don't do that. And that's fine, honestly. hold no shame in my heart for people like that. But I was trying to navigate in my head, like, what the fuck is up with this queen? And he was like, no, that's forbidden. And he just didn't want to do that either. And I was like, okay, like, what do you want to do? And he just was like, well, you should just do what you want to do. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of toxic masculinity is that? And so basically what was going on with him was that he was like, for one, I shouldn't be able to say anything because that's inappropriate, but you, being the man in this situation, you need to just impregnate me and, like, just make it happen. And I wasn't about that. And I was like, well, no, I'm not gonna do that because that's not what I'm about. And also, like, what's your deal? And so he just started kind of, like, being really irritable again and just kind of making noises and not really wanting to communicate. And I was like, okay, something's up. So I went down my list. I was like, are you HIV positive and you don't want to tell me? Because that's cool, because we can just use a condom. Or have you never been with a man before? Are you scared? We can slow down. We can look at pie charts and graphs to tell you how this works. And I was like, okay, like, are you, like, secretly fucking underage? Do I have to, like, drive you home and, like, worry about your parents, like, beating the shit out of you or something? Like, what is going on? And that last thing I mentioned is, like, really a big deal, because I started recognizing that a lot of people who are on Grindr actually are underage. And so I'm always really suspicious about people who do not post their age, who look really young. He had his age posted, and this wasn't on Grindr, but this is just an example. And he said he was, like, I think he said he was 18 or 19, but I was like, I mean, when I was younger, I would lie about my age all the time, so I don't know. But he was like, no, I'm not. And then eventually it came out that he had a fucking boyfriend, and he was like, I thought that, you know, if we didn't kiss, or I didn't get my ass ate, it was like, basically he was like, okay, if I didn't eat his ass, it was cheating less than, like, if I did, and that it would be okay if I just fucked him instead of, like, doing all this other stuff like kissing and foreplay. And I was like, boy, that don't make no sort of sense, but okay, more power to you. And so I promptly started putting my clothes on, and I was like, you need to go. And so he started getting ready, and he was like, but we could have had so much fun. And I was like, we could have. And then he started to leave, and I was like, wait a minute. And I suppose his pee for about actually, like, literally like a solid minute. I was just like squeezing his butt, and I was like, we could have had a lot more fun, but you went and decided it was fun to cheat. And for that, you know, he was like, oh, well, it feels nice when you squeeze my buttocks. And I was like, I'm sure it does, fam, but, you know, this is all you're getting. And so I walked him back, and we started talking, and I was like, why would you do that? And he was basically like, well, my boyfriend never fucks me anymore, and I'm very sexually frustrated. And I was like, boy, why are we both 19 and you sound like a suburban housewife right now with a husband who can't keep an erection? Like, what is this about? What is the truth? Is this really what's going on? And he was like, yeah. And I mean, I wasn't, like, holding a grudge or anything, but I was like, I'm not gonna have sex with you in this context. We're just not gonna do it. You can work something else out. And it was cute. It was cute. I walked him back to his car, and he just kind of grunted and mumbled, and I was like, well, I'm sorry, I can't be whatever fantasy you had for today, because, you know, you really kind of put me in a very awkward situation with your refusal to communicate. But honestly, his booty was so big, oh my god, I wanted to wear it as a hat. Oh my gosh, I'm blushing thinking about it. It would have kept my face very warm for the winter. But anyway, that's your story for now. We're about to get snapped up by this photograph man. Pictures taken instantaneously. I'm a photographic genius if I do say so myself. Okay, get ready for an instant memory. Look at the camera. Ready, safe, fuzzy pickles. Thumbs up. Wow, what a great photograph. It will always bring back the fondest of memories. Well then, we did it. So, let's go ahead and open up this present. We have an IQ capsule. This is the part of the game where you really struggle with your inventory limitations, because man, you just get so much shit at this part of the game. They just keep giving it to you, and you need to be just like chowing down on it as soon as you get it. So we're going to use this brain food lunch. This will restore Ness's PP and his HP, which is good, and we're also going to eat this PSI caramel to give him a bit more to work with here. There we go, and then finally we're going to use the IQ capsule on Paula. Actually, we're going to use it on Ness. He could use some more PP. If you don't remember, the IQ stat increases the amount of psychic points you gain per level. Oh, hello. The swamp also has some really interesting enemies. I'm trying to remember what I was doing in school when I first played this part of the game. I actually used to listen to a radio show called Bobbies Are Born, which I'm honestly a little bit embarrassed to talk about that because it's a bit juvenile, but I loved it. I loved the shit out of it. It was really cute. I loved listening to like stuff like radio plays when I was in high school, and I really loved seeing people on the internet interact and be friends, because even though I've told y'all I had not necessarily an internet boyfriend, but like an internet guy I was really close to, we didn't have... It was just a really weird arrangement. Like, we were intimate but not close, and that's so hard to explain sometimes, but that's also, I think that's like a really gay thing, where, you know, you're hungry for attachment to someone, you're hungry for that connection, but like you're just like really aggressively withholding it, because either you are afraid of giving that much, or you've given it before and it's not really left in your body. And I don't really, I mean, that is not just a gay thing, but it's like I've said, so many of us, like, it's hard to find people to be with, and it's hard to find someone you're comfortable with. But like when you find someone who's kind of like a close match, you're willing to give something to them, like intimacy, like you're willing to kiss and hold hands, but you won't necessarily like talk about your life with them, you know what I mean? And that's something that I noticed is kind of like, that's one way you can kind of mentally divide people a little bit, is if they are willing to talk about their life or just things of substance with people that they hook up with. Because for a lot of people, that's a big no-no. And like, if you even just ask like someone's sexuality, like while you're hooking up, they'll just get like really furious because they feel like, well, it's none of your business, we're just here to have sex. But I, on the other hand, feel a little bit different. Like, I just love to ask questions, also because I'm real nosy. And I just love to be up in people's business. And that's just how I stay in the know. Like I said yesterday, last episode. You know, you really have to keep your eyes and ears open when you're in a community full of gay people, because it's like, you know, if you're caught unawares, the queens will come biting and knock the crown right off your head. And that's really what I mean by that. Like, you gotta stay in the know what's going on with other people, because like when you hook up with one person and they're not like ultra mega discreet, like you basically just automatically inadvertently know a lot of other people. You don't know you do, but there's definitely that connection. But anyway, like I said, I was listening to Bobbies Are Born, which is a podcast around this time. I hadn't really started hooking up in college until my sophomore and kind of less junior years. My sophomore year, I hooked up with this guy who was like an army nurse. I think I've told this story. He was an army nurse, and he really had a fetish for like virgins, I guess, and he was like really wanting me to say this was my first time, and I was like, no, I've been a hoe since at least 4 or 5 years. You're just not prepared for the truth. And he just really rebuked that, in part because I was having trouble bottoming that day, and it was in his mind, it was like, oh, it's because you just never have had anything there. But the truth was, I was finally coming to terms with my lactose intolerance, TBH. But anyway, so that happened, and after that I was like, you know, why have I been holding off on doing this? Because there's a really big gap, and I'll fill in some holes for y'all. So this is, y'all get some some tragic gay backstory a little bit, but only peripherally. So, for me, I had started hooking up when I was young, like I've mentioned a bazillion thousand times, like when I was around 14, and then that lasted until I think I was 16 or late 15, and after that, I just stopped cold turkey. Like, I just didn't do anything, and like, literally, I didn't even mention this in the episode where I was talking about learning to play music, but literally all the energy I used to, like, pursuing sex just went straight towards music at that point in time. And that's really a good way if you're struggling with dealing with something like that, is to have something to put your energy towards. Like, if you're looking to make life change and you don't know how, or like you have problems with addiction, it really helps to just put that energy towards something else because it just distracts you. And so I was just basically aggressively playing an instrument almost as a way to masturbate a little bit, but not really. That's being a little bit dramatic on my part. I'm gonna be really real with y'all, we might actually die here, because this enemy, the manly fish's brother, is actually one of the strongest enemies in the game that you can randomly encounter, and it does an assload of damage. It legitimately can actually one-shot everyone in our party besides Ness when we encounter him, because he knows PSI, what the hell is it called? PSI Frost? PSI Blizzard, there we go. And that very well can one-shot Paula and Jeff very easily, and it will two-shot Ness if he connects it twice. And it can freeze you in place, so you can't even move to heal yourself. But we don't gotta worry about that now, because we murdered that fish to death. Okay, man, we leveled up a lot, holy shit. So we are kind of in a rough spot here. We have gotten licked around a bit. We actually probably should have stocked up on more items. But, you know, we just gotta deal with it. I also should have equipped that souvenir coin that we received, because it is a massive defense boost, so we're gonna do that now. And everyone else is good. We have everything else prepared here. You know what? I'm pretty sure I need to give Paula the rain pendant. I feel bad for not doing that earlier, I forgot. But now her defense is a good bit higher, so she's not gonna be struggling as much. And we're going to drink the soup that Paula has in our inventory. Let's give it to Jeff. He's feeling kind of weak lately. And give some beef jerky to Paula, actually, because she needs the HP. And then finally, do we have any other items we can chomp on? Let's give Ness the PSI Caramel, because he could actually stand to be able to heal folks. We have a snake bag. I wish we had another brain food lunch. We need to really actually stock up on those. But anyway, we're gonna try to avoid the fish dude. Well, we can't really, because we're in a swamp and we can't move. But if we catch one alone, it is a very real chance that his brother will show up and just murder the crap out of us, so we need to avoid that. But what I was talking about before was just, in particular with, like, how sometimes withholding yourself can be like a really gay thing. Like, again, I don't mean that just gay people do that, but it's like something that I think the circumstances of a lot of our lives kind of lead to a little bit. Because it's almost paradoxical. I think a lot of us are really hungry for love, but at the same time we're really resistant to giving ourselves, because we're kind of ready to be disappointed, honestly. Because that's kind of the shitty part about how, like, really hooking up is like almost like a necessary evil of gay life in a lot of ways. Not even like literally hooking up, but just being involved in using hookup apps, because it's like, it makes you meet so many shitty people. It really does. And it really kind of dashes your hopes in a lot of ways. It really does. It's really sad. I really hope we don't run into this dude's brother, man. Please. Ah, oh, god fucking damn it. Okay, whatever, I don't care. Welp, this is gonna be a little bit rough. Again, like I said, we very well might die here, but we just have to deal. Let me see if this thing is weak to paralysis. No, I don't want to. We'll try it, because I would really like to not have to... Actually, you know what, let's go back. Let's try hypnosis. And the great thing about Paula is that she can suck the psychic points out of other enemies, which we're going to try just so that we can refill hers a little bit. And I'm actually just going to nuke this dude to death here, because I'm really not about getting a game over here. Holy shit, those do a lot of damage. What the fuck? There we go, Schlurp. And, oh, that's really funny. So only the regular manly fish has, or not the, only the manly fish's brother has PP, the regular one does not. Which is kind of amusing, but oh well. Alright. This is actually one of my favorite battle backgrounds in the game, incidentally. The one for the fish brothers. But, you know, like I was saying, the predominance of hooking up and its necessity is really kinda, it's very frustrating, it's very emotionally draining, and it makes you want to give less and less every time you make a connection with someone. Because there are just so many times I've, like, really connected with someone, and then, like, you know, I look at my phone after we've finished doing our thing, and I'm like, maybe I should message them, and it's like, well, they actually already blocked me, and just never want to see me again. That's actually something I've learned to watch out for in guys, not necessarily because it's a, well, it is, I think it might be a little bit of a bad thing, but it's something that makes me suspicious, is that when they chronically delete and reinstall Grindr, or alternatively, they just immediately block someone no matter what the circumstances are after they've hooked up with them once. Because, for one, it tells me that they're people hopping, which I always have some mixed feelings about. And then two, it tells me that they are, if we do meet again, they're just going to waste my time, honestly. They are not really ready for any sort of commitment. Also, I went the wrong way. So we are stuck in this swamp because I'm a little bit lost, and this video is getting a little bit long, so we're going to only wander around just a bit more. I'm going to use the heavy bazooka. I haven't showed that on camera. It's actually pretty handy. It does the same damage as a super bomb, which is about the power of a regular bottle rocket, not the multi-bottle rocket. Alright, there we go. Man, I didn't talk about none of the things I really wanted to talk about, but I guess I got like 3 minutes left. So, about not letting other gay people bully you, I guess I could talk about that. You know, I'll tell you something for real, like, it can be, I talk about how it really helps to be part of a gay community to, like, feel more comfortable with yourself in and out. But at the same time, it can be real rough, because we're real mean to each other sometimes. It's like, it's real stressful. I've had a lot of times where people are just, like, really, really mean to me for no fucking reason. I remember my first time going to the LGBT group at my university, like, the first official meeting. I was in an elevator with this guy who was also going, and the reason I knew he was going, even before we, like, introduced ourselves, was that it was basically like in this far off remote location, and the only reason you would be there is to go to this gay ass fucking meeting. And he just refused to talk to me. He was just like, no. He just was very short to me. He didn't want to say hi or anything. And I don't feel entitled to people's time, but I could tell he was doing it because he was basically sizing me up. Because he was just like looking at me and then just wouldn't say anything. And that, actually, it didn't make me mad at that point. It just kind of made me sad, because I was like, I just friends so bad. But you just have to learn to deal with people's attitude problems. Also, you need to learn not to escalate things necessarily, but also to stand up for yourself. And you do that, for one, by just, like, letting people know that you're not a game from the very beginning. Because some people will just see any sort of weakness and they'll be like, okay, let me just read this nerd. And they'll just basically just try to give you a really hard time for no reason to assert themselves. And I mean, I know part of the reasons why. Like I said, some of us are kind of afraid of gay people. But on top of that, I think a lot of us feel like we have something to prove. And the way we do that is by kind of, like, putting down other gay people. So sometimes it's like the obvious stuff, like guys who call themselves masculine. That's an important keyword there. Call themselves. Put down like guys who are more feminine. But on top of that, you can have people just do it over more mundane things, like you're wearing shorts today. Interesting. Do they not like have pants where you're from? Like, people will just do stuff like that, and you just need to tell them to shut up. Oh, almost said a slur. You just need to tell them to shut up, you nerd. Like, because people will just be like that, and you just can't tolerate it. So, I'm a little embarrassed I'm lost, so we really do need to cut the video here so I can practice more and find out where the next area is, because I've literally went in a circle in the same place like 4 or 5 times. And for y'all who are actually interested in Earthbound, that's probably tilting the literal shit out of you, but, you know, you just gotta deal with it. I'm Ethan Bonreal, and I've Ethan Bon been like this my entire life. I got ADD, and I play games like it, so get in. But we're gonna go ahead and pause it here. I'll catch you nerds later. Don't let a homosexual bully you. You just be assertive from the get-go, but don't escalate it, you know? Like, if they say something about the way you look, you say something about them minding their own business. And actually, I'm actually keep going, because I actually have a story I want to tell. So, I always have the worst luck of, like, gay guys who are, like, really obsessed with their straight friends, just, like, being really threatened by me for no fucking reason. There was this queen who was, like, basically, he had this straight dude he was obsessed with, and he brought him to, like, something we were doing, I don't remember. And I was just being polite and saying hi, because, you know, I had struggled my whole life to, like, really be able to introduce myself to people and be more confident, and I was just, you know, trying it out. And this dude was like, oh, so don't forget he's straight, honey. And I was like, girl, I don't want the man you don't have. Shut the fuck up. Like, he was just being really wild for no reason, and I had to just interject and be like, look, you need to chill the fuck out. There's no reason for you to be like this. But anyway, I found out where we're actually supposed to go, because this is the boss right here. But we are going to cut the video. I'm done telling my story, and I will catch you nerds later. Thanks for watching, and bye.